spirit is rising, she's rising, she's rising. The spirit is rising, it's rising, it's rising. The spirit is rising, they're rising.
There's definitely aliens.
Well, yeah.
Or, like, yeah.
Hi, Risa, would you care to elaborate?
I mean, I wasn't prepared to, but I'm like hungover and like mom on the run in an apartment by myself. It's very quiet. Can I tell you about aliens? I don't know. I mean, we all know that like it's sort of totally blinkered and insane and like a symptom of how we protect ourselves when we're afraid to think that in a universe with billions and billions and billions and billions of stars and planets, that this is the only one with life. I mean, we all know that. And statistically, the chance that they're more advanced than us is ridiculously high. So anyway, I welcome our alien overlords. No. I don't know why I was thinking about aliens this morning.
Well, I mean, there's that conspiracy about the lizard people, who are running everything.
Uh-huh.
And obviously, I'm not in line with this kind of business, but sometimes when I'm like looking at like the death cult of corporatocracy, I'm like, what other explanation is there than some like alien force hell-bent on the destruction of humanity has come and like infiltrated our financials? Risa, there's no other plausible explanation. Because I find it so baffling that at least there's like this absurd, possible answer that I can
Well, then I think you can find people on the internet that will sell you rocks that will protect you from that if you want.
From the lizard people,
yeah.
But you know me, like I sort of live my entire life in metaphor, so it helps me to like characterize someone with that level of greed as like an other, as like, a lizard creature who's hell-bent on the destruction of humanity. Like I can sort of let an idea go when I can be like, oh, Bezos is a lizard person. At least I can understand that. Or like maybe more relatable for us and our listeners. I sometimes like characterize my own, like my anxiety, my inner saboteur, to use a RuPaul word, as the devil. Because then I get to like use all of those like awesome old sayings like, don't let the devil get you down, or, the devil is fast, but I'm faster. And so it helps me to like metaphorize, anthropomorphize, like it helps me to understand, because when I get confused, I get kind of attached, trying to figure something out. And if I can come up with an even like 1% plausible answer, it almost like tricks my brain into letting it go. But lizard people are greedy capitalists, and my anxiety is the devil, and that helps me.
I see that. I mean, my brain doesn't work like that. Like I'm so wired to be like, and this is why I'm like relentlessly like gullible, is like, I'm just so wired to be like, but with love and enough love and hope and faith, we will discover that the lizard people are ourselves. And like we all could have slipped through that looking glass, that, under the pressure of certain discourses and certain systems, we can be made unkind, we can be made monoliths, we can be made, megalomaniacs, but also we could come back. Like, I don't know, that idea that like, I guess this is from Alexander techniques. So that body work I did that finally helped with my migraine that lasted 10 years. There was this like quote, which I'll like terribly paraphrase now, that was like, you can undo the damage of a lifetime in a moment. And it was this incredibly optimistic and empowering idea that like you could stop holding your body in a way that you had become accustomed to holding your body, that was protective, but that was now causing you pain. Like you could realize that there was freedom, that you could release, that it could be different. And I desperately am wired to just believe that, like to my own detriment often, like I just, and it's funny, it does kind of connect with my prescription songs for this week in a weird way. Or like I can make it because I had to write papers where you had to connect things. I don't know. It's funny, you and I have talked before about how we both did like lit, and there is something in that where you learn how to like trace your own thought, your own lines of connection between really disparate things, and to see like story threads through things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the whole idea of like, what's the metaphor? What's the
Right.
metaphor here? We're like trained to look for metaphors in explicit language, like what's implicit in the explicit. And to me, that's very witchy.
Mm-hmm.
What's implicit in the explicit? And a lit degree
Right.
can help with that for sure.
Right, totally. I went to the dentist yesterday, and the dental hygienist like was a hardcore Missing Witches fan by the end of the conversation, and I did not bring it up at first, but they did. Um, but yeah, she was reading this psychology book where they were sort of laying out that privilege affects options. So it kind of goes through like people who are considered to be incredibly successful, and instead of this sort of blinkered focus on their choices and their brilliance and their genius, it looks instead at all the ways that they were given second chances and support by being, I mean, usually beneficiaries of white privilege, but in general systemic privilege, for sure, class privilege. And so she was like kind of having, like, we were talking about the ways in which that's hidden and obfuscated, especially in like North American discourse of like, this is a land of opportunity, like pull up your bootstraps and you can achieve anything. And definitely, people have come to these places from around the world and found a measure of freedom that they didn't have before. But that discourse hides, all of the ways in which a bias works in those systems, and like the decks are stacked, and I think that being able to try to see the biases and the structures in the built world is magic. That's part of wayfinding the new world, is seeing those hidden structures, or trying to.
Yeah, the occult, right?
Yeah, the occulted.
The hidden, the unknown.
Yeah. So this brings me strangely to my prescription for this week. So my prescription for this week is like, let's think about workers' music, like supporting strikes. Can we think about like, yeah, working class music? One song we've been listening to a lot is in tall buildings. So it's a John Hartford song. The version of the song that I love is by Gillian Welch. I mean, the song is devastatingly beautiful, but most beautiful in her hands, I find. But we listen to this song all the time, and it's like, goodbye to the flowers and goodbye to you. I'm going to work in tall buildings. Goodbye to the sunshine, goodbye to the dew. We listen to it all the time. May loves it. It's the first non-kids soundtrack song she asked to be put on her playlist.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
Yeah.
She's going to be a Gillian Welch fan forever.
Yeah. And she sings it out loud. She sings it walking around the house. And so we were talking about tall buildings. We were getting in the bath. And I was like, some people like it. Like, it's good sometimes to have a job. And like, mommy had a job in tall buildings, at points in her life. And she was like, I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry you had to work in tall buildings. I was like, that, that's okay. I felt kind of lucky to have that gig, and, it was all right. She's like, did you like it? It's like, well, no.
Not really.
I hated it. I had panic attacks in the bathroom every day. I wanted to rip off all the clothes I had to wear there. I hated it. I refused to become a real employee, so I had to stay as like a contractor because mentally I couldn't handle truly becoming an employee of that place, But I love the innocence and the kindness in that question from her. And that's my prescription for all of us this week, just sit in the sweetness of that song, maybe outside, like near a tree or near the grass, or feel the sunshine on your face. And like, it's okay to like laugh and mourn a little bit the time that we've spent in these destructive systems, like laugh at them, mourn them, do what you fucking gotta do whatever, do the job you gotta do. Don't be hard on yourself. If we can have so much layered guilt and shame about participating in systems, but like, we are the little nodes in the network that we are. We arrived where we arrived, we're there, but just feel it a little. Like, there's something about hearing it in song that's so gentle. It's like, and Gillian Welch says at the beginning of that song, like, of the recording that's around, like, I think a lot of people have quit their jobs because of this song.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And there is, if part of you feels just dead inside, listen to the song, sit by a tree, sit in the sun, and like, think if there are ways that you can kill off things that are killing you in your fucking life. You know what I mean? Just small things. Say goodbye to. Is there a way you can like transition your work, like adjust your expenses, adjust your idea of what you need? Can you start to make a dream plan for a different place to live, a different way to live? You don't have to rush into anything. Just feel the gentleness of the song, feel the easing. Just love yourself and see, is there a way I could be more alive? Because those small steps, whether they're within changing a system, changing dynamics, or leaving dynamics, every piece of those will affect the world, I think. Maybe that's my gullible optimism coming through again.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's gullible to think that we have the capacity to change our lives, that we have more agency than we've been led to believe by the system that we're forced to live under. I don't think that. I think it's hella witchy, but I don't necessarily think that I would call it gullible,
All right, I'll go with hella witchy. I ride that current of like distrusting my own leaps of faithfulness.
Sure.
I'm sure we all do.
But speaking of lit degrees, there's this idea about deconstruction, right? So like, we can take a word like gullible and put it on the bad side of the binary, but then we can take its synonym, something like trusting or earnest, and put it on the good side of the binary, right? So we can deconstruct your gullibility into like a beautiful, trusting nature. And to me, that is a compliment and not an insult. So again, in our reframing of our lives, like, we have so many synonyms and we have so many capabilities to just reframe. Somebody calls you gullible, maybe that means you have a beautiful, trusting heart. And maybe that's not something that you need to change about yourself. Hella witchy.
Hella witchy. Okay, I have another song, but I don't have a segue, and I need your prescription for us, for you, for me.
Well, y'all know my prescription is going to be the same as it was last week, and it's going to be the same next week, and then June you'll get different ideas from me. But the prescription this week is ritual sacrifice. The prescription this week is to join our fundraiser for Native Women's Shelters. And but first, I want you to sit down and click the YouTube link and listen to, I brought Buffy Sainte-Marie. She's been waiting in the wings all month for me to bring her to the prescription.
And I mean, I think we all knew she was coming today.
She was going to come. She was going to come.
Her.
And we love Buffy, and just like a role model. And it's like you were saying, Risa, like there's some things that you can sing that you can't say. And Buffy is like the epitome of that. She came bucking out the gate with these like very, very confrontational political songs. And if she had been standing and speaking, I'm not sure if people would have heard them. But because she sang them, people listened. But also she was like blackmailed, blacklisted by the government and radio stations who were like not about her message of indigeneity and decolonization at all, to the point where she was actually blacklisted. And if you want to learn more about Buffy Sainte-Marie, definitely check out the book by Andrea Warner, or you can listen to the episode that we did about Buffy Sainte-Marie. But I want to bring two songs from Buffy, and one is like a mean auntie song. And you know, mean auntie loves you, but you know, she's gonna tell you what needs to be done from time to time. And that is called My Country, 'Tis of Thy People You're Dying. And I want to read some of the lyrics. It's long, so you can really sit down and have a good think for a minute. But it starts, now that your big eyes are finally opened, now that you're wondering, how must they feel? Meaning them that you've chased across America's movie screens. Now that you're wondering, how can it be real? That the ones you've called colorful, noble, and proud in your school propaganda, they starve in their splendor. You've asked for our comment, I simply will render, my country, 'tis of thy people you're dying. The song ends with, oh, what can I do? Say a powerless few, with a lump in your throat and a tear in your eye. Can't you see that their poverty's profiting you? My country, 'tis of thy people you're dying. And the melody and the lyric for that line is, of course, taken from My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. And she takes that melody, and instead of repeating it, she goes to a beautiful place with it. My country, 'tis of thy people you're dying. And even just in that, instead of repeating the first melody, she changes it and takes it to this much more nuanced and exciting place of melody. So again, I would love for you to sit down with this song, "'Tis My Country, 'Tis of Thy People You're Dying" by Buffy Sainte-Marie, for a mean auntie take on ritual sacrifice and joining our fundraiser for reparations. But I wanted to bring another one too, which is like my favorite Buffy Sainte-Marie song. And we know that some of you had great success with sitting in a bath with incense and Gordon Lightfoot. So I want to bring that back, a sitting in a bath or in water or near water, and check out God is Alive, Magic is Afoot by Buffy Sainte-Marie. If you need a reminder that magic is alive, this is the tune. This is the song that I go to when I'm like, is magic real? And I put it on and I'm like, yes, I exist in this world with this piece of music, which is like a collaboration between an Indigenous woman singer and a Jewish man poet who, you know, Buffy took the lyrics from Leonard Cohen, and in her hands and with her voice, the meaning of them just explodes. So again, my prescription this week is to make a donation of $10 or more to your local Native Women's Shelter. I also want to spotlight the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center. If you're in the United States and the Native Women's Shelter of Montreal just doesn't feel like it makes sense, then totally, we get it. We want you to donate locally. The National Indigenous Women's Resource Center is a national organization, and they're developed to support cultural competency and humility initiatives in part. And we're going to put this in the prescription week this week too. They have a special collection, Cultural Competency, Humility, and Ally Building in Indian Country. And it's an amazing read. It's a wonderful read. It's important and heartening. I want to thank Cass for bringing our attention to it. Again, the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center is a Native-led nonprofit organization dedicated to ending violence against Native women and children. So you can check them out at niwrc.org. Once again, my prescription for this week is ritual sacrifice. Take 5 minutes, listen to a Buffy Sainte-Marie song, see if you can find $10 in your budget, because get this, y'all. We are just, when you're listening to this, about 10 days away from the end of our fundraiser, and we are only $1,000 away from our goal. Now, our goal was humble. Our goal is more than last year. Our goal is just more than last year. It could be $1 more. And we are just $1,000 away from that goal. So that means 100 of you finding $10, or 10 of you finding $100. And we could be past what we did last year, which again, like, I know some of us come to us to give you hope. And this is a way that you can fucking return that favor. Like, every time I see a donation in our inbox, it's like a hit of dopamine. And not just that, it's like, okay, we're doing this, we're together, we're doing this, you know, somebody came through, somebody else came through. So it really gives me hope to see reparation donations come in. And don't forget, like, the prizes are off the chain. Jinx Monsoon, Pam Grossman, like these are the types of prizes that are available to be won. An entire year of creative workshops. It's bonkers. So if you haven't yet, please join our fundraiser. Go to missingwitches.com/reparations. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to add too, because I feel like people maybe don't understand or know, because we haven't really told people the nuts and bolts of where our donation lies. So we've sort of said generally, like, we donate our earnings, but to be specific, like, we will look at the end of the month at what our payout is for the month from our memberships on missingwitches.com and on patreon.com, which is the total basically of our income from Missing Witches, and we'll donate that entire amount. So whatever it is at the end of the month. So what people are joining this month as members of Missing Witches, you're going in the donation pot. Anybody who joins this month, you know, you're part of what we're going to donate. And that's so that for us, that ends up being, you know, it's a full month of our earnings. It's a 1/12 of what we make from Missing Witches, outside from small bits where we get a little bit of support for writing a book. But trust me, book writing doesn't make a lot of money, and it's certainly not a monthly amount that we count on. Yeah, so just in case you were wondering what blood we put on the table or whatever, that's what it is for us. That's how we think about reparations, is a chunk of our year, just anchors us in what feels like justice building. So join us.
Yeah, there's this sort of Christian hangover from the concept of ritual sacrifice called tithing. And under tithing, you know, it's advised that you give 10% of your income back to the church every year. And so this to me is like tithing, and the Native Women's Shelter of Montreal is the church that we tithe to. So again, if you throw in $10, like, for the whole year, you can think to yourself, like, I joined that. I was part of that. And we want that. We all want to feel like we're part of something. So, hey, great opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Here's my other piece of my, like, working class magic prescription for this week. So you might know the song Dirty Old Town. I think it was made popular by the Pogues.
Dirty old town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took my love to the glassworks wall. I dreamed a dream by the old canal.
Your
It's
version
Ewan.
is very pretty. I came in Shane McGowan like dirty old
Yeah.
town.
Well,
But the song really goes like this.
I didn't know the Pogue song when I started playing that song because I was introduced to it by this sort of ramshackle circle of women who would meet and sing like protest folk and protest songs. My friend Emily Doolittle's house, shout out, mad anarchist organizer, orchestral composer that she is. And we would meet there, and women would come with these amazing old instruments, and we'd print up old songs. And a lot of them I didn't know, these old like origins of these folk protest songs, including that one. So it's a Ewan MacColl song. It's not by the Pogues. Ewan MacColl is this, originally British communist labor organizer. He has this song which you can find on YouTube now, and I'll link to it. There was just like a couple of tapes supporting the Union of Mine Workers that were around, but it has been preserved on YouTube. It's Daddy, What Did You Do in the Strike? And it's pretty fucking angry. And even Dirty Old Town, right? It's like you're walking around this working class place and seeing its beauty because you found love there, but it's fucking brutal. And the last verse is, I'm going to take a good strong axe and I'm going to cut all of this down, It's like, and I want to channel that, what feels to me like very understandable and kind of part of what feels to me like my masculine energy, anger. And like I see it in people I love too, when they're so angry at injustice that like that emotion goes to sort of a violent direction, even though they're not violent people. It's just like, let's fuck it all, let's tear it all down, okay. And so here's the prescription: is listen to Dirty Old Town. You can listen to the Pogues version if you want. And maybe some other strike music and the Gillian Welch, and like let that anger at that injustice rise up. Like walk around like maybe some ugly places, keep it safe, but like walk around some of the places that are near you that are not fucking beautiful, and like feel that that you can see the magic, you can see things glistening, you can see trees in the cracks, but also feel that rage. And then there's like a somatic practice that I heard about recently where you lean your head and your hands against a brick wall when you feel really fucking angry, and just like rage push your body against it for a bit, and then do it for maybe the length of the song. Like just like you're pushing it over, you're pushing it, and you're allowed to feel that angry, and it's safe to feel that angry. And then release and breathe and let yourself feel the strength, and also that like you're okay, that you felt all the way angry, you pushed like you were going to push down a brick wall, like you were taking a hatchet to something. It was okay, it was safe to feel that angry, and then take that into your body. It is okay, like it's safe for me to feel rage at this world, and I am also empowered by it. And I'm also still whole. I'm still okay. Things did not fucking light on fire around me by me letting myself feel my rage. And I can carry it step by step, like musical notes. I can carry it like these songs that still find their way to us, to, people are organizing. It's happening. They're around you. You can find them. You can contribute. It's not over. This fight is not over. We're right in the middle of something new. So, and make your fucking reparation donation. Let it feel like an outlet for you, Send it directly to, if you can support, urban indigenous orgs like that. Those are people who feel that rage too and are doing something about it.
Yeah, I want to add to this idea that sort of sprouted up from everything you said over the past however many minutes we've been talking, but sing your rage. if you are not in a place where you can scream, or you don't want to because that's triggering and it doesn't feel good for you, this is something that I've done my whole life. And I think I even brought it up in New Moon Magic, the next book, but that singing loud for me was that cathartic screaming. But the neighbors aren't going to call the cops if you're singing loud. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to be concerned for your safety if you're singing loud. If you're screaming, people, might come running and if you're singing loud, if you're singing your rage, this is like socially acceptable. And maybe, just maybe, if you're like Gillian Welch, if you're like Buffy Sainte-Marie, then singing your rage is the channel, and people will actually hear you and listen and quit their jobs in tall buildings, or think about the Indigenous people that they took for granted their whole lives. Sing your rage, I think, I want that on a t-shirt. So that's the ultimate prescription this week. It's going to be sing your rage loud and proud.
Fuck yeah. I'm going to karaoke this week for the first time since the pandemic. All I'm going to do is sing my rage. I'm so excited. Runaway Mom does karaoke this week. That's my personal prescription.
Me, I have a microphone that's like hooked up to my stereo, so every day is karaoke day. It's not always ragey.
If I can get a whole bar to scream Taylor Swift Shake It Off with me, then my work this week will be done.
There it is. Shake it off, rage scream. Think about places, think about ways that you can change your perspective, and how changing your beliefs can change your perspective, and changing your perspective can change your reality. All that amazing chaos magic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get right into it.
It's spring. Like, think about pruning. What's going to die so that other things can live, so that you can live, Yeah. It always comes back to that for me. And blessed fucking be.
We love you. Blessed fucking be.
Me, and my life is all to me. I love myself and all me. I love myself and all of me, all of me. I love myself and all of me. Love myself and all of me. I love myself and all of me.
Hi folks, it's Risa and Amy here from Missing Witches, inviting you to get involved in our annual raffle in support of the Native Women's Shelter of Montreal and Indigenous-run nonprofits wherever you live.
We have a ridiculously fun, witchy heap of prizes donated by a whole community of folks joining together to make a magical wave of reparations magic.
There's a prize pack from Jinx Monsoon.
A one-on-one tarot session with Sarah Gottesdiener.
Magic classes from Pam Grossman.
A full year of writing workshops with Kate Ballou and the Bardo.
Art pieces, jewelry pieces, readings, books, and so much more.
Make a donation to your local Indigenous support org or the Native Women's Shelter of Montreal, and then just forward the receipt to missingwitches@gmail.com with the subject line reparations before May 31st.
For every $10 you donate, you'll get one entry into the draw. Check out all the details at missingwitches.com/reparations.
And blessed fucking be.
Blessed fucking be.